Alright, so we are doing another audio commentary because the last one turned out good. This was against Plaatutong Porkiat Gym up in Udon. I've never been to Udon before, and I've kind of still never been to Udon because we arrived kind of late and looked around for this venue. That's Modek in front of me. He's my corner when I travel for fights. And we'd fought the night before, and he was supposed to fight on this event as well, but unfortunately his guy didn't show up and he didn't get to fight. But this is always an interesting part of fights, is wading through the crowd trying to get to your corner. It can be very difficult when the crowd is very dense, or it can be a little more smooth. Before entering the ring, I always kneel down, say a little prayer before going in, and rub some dirt in my hair, which is a reminder of being humble and mortality. Jaidi is there as usual. So that's my opponent. And I had no idea who I was fighting until I read her name in Muay magazine like a week before this fight. So it's interesting to find out who you're fighting through a publication rather than whoever set up the fight for you. Modek had to be really careful putting my Moncon on because I had an open cut, and it had tons of Vaseline on it, and I was afraid that the Moncon would actually open it while it was going over my skin, so he's taking a lot of extra care putting that on there. But this crowd was cool. This stadium was surrounded by this temporary aluminum fencing because they were charging admission to come in. But the crowd was very interested in this fight, but also very quiet as we were starting out. It was a little bit buzzy, but that's usually a good feeling. Coming to this fight, because I'd fought the night before and we'd driven all day to get here, it's like a 9-hour drive from Pattaya up to Udon. I kind of had this I don't give a fuck attitude that was really nice. I was just in this zone that was kind of I don't know, whatever, just do what you have to do. I'd seen this girl fight on video a little bit before because there was a girl I was gonna fight named Hong Kao, and we actually got flooded out. I was supposed to fight her in Hua Hin. There was a flood that night, so I didn't get to fight her, but she fought this girl, and so I got to see that video, but it was from a couple years ago, so I wasn't really sure if she fought the same way or anything like that, so I didn't really know what to expect. But when I was watching her before the fight, I was like, good God, that girl is so tall. She had this really nice confidence. It was very clear that she was my opponent. When I saw her, she was with this super handsome man that I think is her father, who's an ex-fighter, who was also very calm, giving her some coaching right before getting in the ring and stuff like that. But this is my first time getting to see her Ramoy, because when I'm doing mine, I can't really see what the other person's doing. So it's cool to see people's different Ramoys. Oftentimes they're very similar, so when people do something that's different, it's always really interesting to me. That's why my Ramoy gets comments from the announcer usually, is that it doesn't look like anybody else's. I learned mine from Master K, and his is pretty old. And I think he's also amended it a little bit in the years since he was fighting. But one of the reasons you see similar Ramoy is not that everyone's lazy, it's that they all kind of reference the one of these origin stories in Thailand. So when you see people doing their arms, like what she's doing when she goes over to the ropes, it is referencing Garuda, who is the hawk winged god. So that's the reason why you'll see a lot of similarities, is because they come from the same thing. She does that smooth, that's nice. It's always difficult when your Ramoys don't match in timing because you kind of run into each other. It's better for me when my opponent is still in the corner when I can do my stalking thing. It's a little bit weird to stalk an empty corner, but it's still fun. I like my Ramoy a lot. So, referee telling me not to foul in English. Alright, getting into round one. No idea what Modek was telling me. So my teep's been working for me pretty well in fights lately. I think that's the first time I've started with it, like, as my first thing. She seemed like she really wanted to, like, stand in one spot and do this, like, feel-out intimidation thing. But that actually worked pretty well for me because I'm kind of more of a come-in striker, so she was just standing there for me to come in and do these strikes. I'm used to very, like, evasive fighters. Yeah, so when I clinch up, I'm a little bit worried about the open cut on my forehead, so I was trying to not really use my head the way I normally do. I normally, like, press my forehead into my opponents when I'm clinching to get a really good lock on them, but I couldn't do that because of my cut. So I think that affected my clinch in a little bit of a, like, just trying to take a different approach. It was still working, but I couldn't, like, zone out. I had to really concentrate on it. Oh, she's so tall. I feel how tall she was. I like the way she scoops in her stance. She had this really cool, because she's so tall, but then she scoops herself out with her shoulders forward and her hip forward like that. It makes it hard to target her middle, actually. She fought really hard. I felt like I was just much stronger than her when we would clinch up, but she had a lot of heart. Like, she was just not, I would feel her get hurt and she would just come back. I really like fighting fighters like that. There's this opponent down in Hua Hin who was bigger than I was, Plaatutong, but man, that girl, like, she would take a breath and then just come straight back at you. Here's round 2. I think her gym told her to come stronger in this round. I remember her kind of picking it up a little bit with each round as we went. She really, really just wants to do her, like, I look good rhythm, and I'm not really the kind of fighter that you can do that with. But the ref was good in letting our clinch go as long as we were working in it. Sometimes it gets broken right away. I felt like I could really string together more combinations in this fight than I've really been doing maybe even 5 fights before this. I'm kind of like a single strike. Jumping out of that damn left knee, something I'm working on a lot. Kevin yells at me for. I'll land like a really nice left knee and then just stumble back off of it. It makes no sense. I'm trying to get like a left hook going here, but I'm kind of jabbing with it, so it's like straight and hooked at the same time. But nice punching out of that and following. I felt like I strung together a lot more combinations in this fight than I've been able to before. Her corner's telling her to come forward, so she starts grinding forward more. Finally start down a little bit in the clinch. Kevin makes fun of me because when I drop fighters, I do it really gently instead of like throwing them on the mat. I think that comes from training, like being too nice to my clinch partners. I threw a little knee. It was just a faint knee, but I got warned by the ref. He's like, don't do it. It's frustrating to get put down like that over and over again. That happens to me in training, and it can be pretty disheartening, but she's handling it really well. Again, I don't know that I'm even listening to Modek when he's telling me to, like, throw her harder in the clinch or something. I was so I don't care in this fight, but not bad attitude, just kind of like, whatever, dude. It felt really nice to be that relaxed. Here she's trying to put her size on me, and it's actually working. She got like a few knees in there. Yeah, her corner told her to come. when my arm is way too far over there, I need to get my elbow on her shoulder and then be able to control her, but I'm kind of stuck there. This is something that I totally know happens, and when I'm training, I can feel it happen and go, oh, put your elbow back, and I'll like fix it, but in a fight, you can be concentrating on so many other things that these really, really simple things just escape you. The crowd was starting to get really excited at this point. There was this lady standing pretty close to where the camera is right now, and every time I came to the corner, she was like, Sylvie, Sylvie, King, King. I have no idea who she was. She was into it. There, the bounce is helping me a little bit. I kind of like forgot to bounce in this fight until much later in the rounds, I think because my clinch was working even when it was stagnant early on. But these guys in the corner thought that the jump was hilarious. I remember seeing their faces when I was bouncing on her, maybe in like the 4th or 5th round. I don't remember dropping her this many times. I totally like lizard brained out on this fight. I was just totally in the zone. If you ask me how it went, I'm like, oh, it went really good, but I can't really tell you. That's a good knee. I totally even forgot that I got this 8 count. I was totally ready to come in and like leap on her with some fantastic jumping elbow or something, and then she gets saved by the bell, and I was really disappointed. But the times that in my brain I'm like, I'm gonna do something fantastic and flying, when I see it on video, I kind of do this weird shuffle forward that I still haven't mastered, so maybe it's for the best. Bringing the teep out again. I've only started being able to fight backwards very, very recently. It's kind of interesting to see, because usually when I'm watching my fights and I'm moving backwards, I'm like, damn it, Sylvie, quit moving backwards. But lately it's been strategic. Grabbing her low and walking her through the ropes there, that's something that I should be working on more, but is rather something that I've verbally been saying I'll work on and then not actually doing in training as much. I think there is when the guys were laughing at that bounce. Trying to get my arm inside. She had a pretty good grip there. I just lost now. Here, I landed like 3 punches in a row, and I could feel like it slowed down for me. I'm like, holy crap, that's like the 3rd punch I've landed in a row. It felt really good, and then the ref stopped it. She wasn't able to fight back, I guess, and they were just ending the fight early instead of letting it go to knockout. It felt good to get this knockout as my 50th knockout altogether. Those are the ladies who were yelling at me. But the crowd was really excited. It was nice when I walked back through. They were all very, very complimentary. And there was this lady on the bleachers who is a promoter from an area in Asan. She called me over and got my number. So here's the crowd giving me thumbs up, weird left-handed handshakes and high fives and stuff. Maybe she made some money on me or something. But it's always nice to walk back out through that crowd that you walked in. This dude is an Italian guy who was down at Petringrung before. Just happened to be up in Udon, so it was cool to see him up there. He was going to corner for Modek until Modek's fight was canceled. It's kind of cool when people come up and want to take pictures with you, like people you don't know. You get this little like celebrity status. I've never seen these pictures because I don't know the people, so I don't know if they put it on Facebook or what. Here's the promoter. This lady, she wants me to come fight in her province. She's cool. We talked online the next day, and probably go see her in like January or something. But people ask me, like, how do you fight as often as you do? This right here is how I fight as often as I do, is you make connections at your fights. You say yes to every fight people offer. You take numbers, you give numbers. Like, there are always people at fights who can get you more fights. these girls right here looking at me, one of them took a picture of me before the fight because this guy was like trying to match us up. I don't even know if she's a fighter or if he was like teasing her, but we're not the same size. We took a like face off photo before. That was a fun fight. It's good.